Welcome to the Sacred Medicine Podcast. My name is Margaret Romero. I'm a Columbia-trained functional medicine nurse practitioner, and here I uncover the truth behind chronic illness so that you can finally heal. I'm a women's health and hormone expert and love empowering women to finally live their life fully and powerfully through optimal health. This is the Sacred Medicine Podcast. You are listening to the Sacred Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Margaret Romero, and this week we have a repeat guest, Dr. Anna Cabeca, and she is going to be talking all about her new book called Menupause. And what's so amazing about this book is that it leads you through 5 different ways of eating while in menopause to avoid weight gain. And I know that this is a huge struggle with women as they're going through this stage in their life, is that they've noticed, some extra belly fat, some weight gain. And the truth is that we cannot eat the same way we did when we were 20 or even 30. So this is a very special time in our lives, and I certainly have gone through that already. And so I think that this book is invaluable when it comes to keeping that weight at bay and still enjoying your life and eating really healthy. So join me in our conversation today, and on to the show. All right, we are back for another week of the Sacred Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Margaret Romero, and today we have back Dr. Anna Cabeca. She has an amazing book out called Menupause. Anna, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me back, Margaret. And I always enjoy talking with you. We could have just talked forever.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about this book. I know I have so many female patients and friends and myself who have gone through menopause, and there's just so many questions about this. So explain to the audience a little bit about what actually defines menopause.
Yeah. So menopause is actually defined by the 12 months after your last menstrual period, which is a really screwy definition because there's so much that happens around menopause, before menopause, during, like this entire transition, and after, to call it one day. So we kind of use the word menopause to talk about perimenopause, before, during, and after menopause, the time period around that in which we're experiencing symptoms. But technically, the one day, 12 months after your last period, which is screwy because you can go, and as I did, a year without a period and then have another period. I mean, well, then what is that? Or if you've had a hysterectomy, how do you know you're in menopause? So I always say I'm all about disrupting menopause, and there has to be a better definition.
Yes, definitely. And so you wrote this book, and it's called Menupause, and you've got about 125 different recipes. And tell us why you created this. So obviously food is interacting with hormone changes.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we can do to really address our hormone imbalance and improve our transition into menopause and beyond is the food we eat, is with how we're nourishing our body, and how we're nourishing it with the right combinations of food to support our body's hormonal production and detoxification of hormone metabolites, and to support our liver in detoxifying, and to support our adrenals in creating more of the hormone that we need that our ovaries are no longer creating. So food is critically important. I wrote Menupause because, it always makes me laugh when I say the name. But so Menupause, and I love it, Margaret. I always say the next book I'm going to write is about the menopause. The menopause during menopause. Anyway, so a menopause is because as I've worked with, thousands of clients, I recognize that sometimes you're doing everything right and what you're doing stops working, right? You hit that plateau, and menopause transition hits, and it hit me a second time at 48, and I gained 20 pounds overnight without doing anything different. And my bioidentical hormones were dialed in. And that's why in my first book that you interviewed me about, The Hormone Fix, I say it takes more than hormones to fix our hormones. And it absolutely does. And so recognizing that, okay, so here we're getting into what I call the keto green lifestyle: healthy fats, high quality protein, intermittent fasting, lots of dark green leafy greens to support our adrenal glands, to support our gut bacteria, and to support hormone detoxification and metabolism. So all of those alkalinizing greens. So how critically important those are to women, especially. Men, they have 10 times as much testosterone, so they can get by with, poorer habits than women can. And so Menupause came about by creating 5 different pauses that I commonly recommended to my clients to break through their plateau, to get unstuck, or to turn the trajectory around to really optimize their health and hormones. And in as little as 6 days, each plan, 5 different plans, each one is 6 days, pausing something different. And you really get a good glimpse and see like a refreshing kickstart into this a better, brighter hormonal transition.
So are people doing each one sort of 6 days, or are they picking one depending on what their symptoms are?
So we have a Menupause quiz, and at the beginning of each of the plans says this one could be best for you if. Right?
Okay.
And so there is that, but I like rotating through all the plans. I mean, we can get so stuck in what we're doing. And each of the 5 plans, and I kind of put them in an order that I'm going to go through with my community online too, in my girlfriend doctor community. And I put them in an order that made sense for me, that made sense for many of my clients, and many of the pauses that I have to do, and just to experience different out of the box eating plans. And oftentimes we get so stuck with what we're doing, we don't experience the true medicinal benefits of food. And way back to the Ottoman Empire, the physicians to the king were their cooks, prepared their food. And so I took that mindset as I, created the plans and the recipes. If this was my client and she was dealing with this, how would I want her to eat for this week?
Okay. Now, I think that I know we'll get back to this. Let's go through the plans first, because then I have questions about belly fat.
Yeah, because these will help reduce belly fat. And I think that's one of the things that I dealt with too. I mean, I've delivered 4 big babies. I've always been able to get my waist back down. Now, I was well over 240 pounds at one point. When I figure out this way of doing things, I was able to trim down. And now I'm 55 with a 14-year-old and a new grandma, and we just talk about things like pandemic, the concept of what does a grandma mean to me? What does that look like? And it really meant like someone my mom in the kitchen with an apron baking and cooking. Right. And so very quickly I gained weight. And also, I've died. I didn't know my grandparents. They all died before I was born from heart disease and diabetes complications. So like that was kind of programmed into me. So this also created kind of like all of a sudden I'm seeing my belly come on again, right? I'm like, whoa, we've got to pause this right away from continuing. What do I need to do to shift this? Because that is just even happening without consciously doing anything different. And so the 5 plans come about with like the core being my keto green. So I think it's like, let me just share with you a day in the life of being keto green, what that looks like.
Okay.
So the concepts of keto green is like, the healthy fats, high quality, clean protein, and lots of greens. And so, for example, I like to keep between 13 and 16 hours, 13 to 18, 13 to 16 on a regular basis between dinner and breakfast, preferably eating before 7 p.m. because that's kind of the cutoff where we go into storage mode and become more insulin resistant if we eat after 7. In fact, after 7 p.m., the food drives right into everything we eat is going to be, most everything we eat is going to be stored at a percentage of approximately 70% higher than if we ate that same meal at
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep, yep. And so it's really a fascinating discussion. Actually, I had that discussion with my teenage daughter yesterday because we were coming back from the ranch. She rides horses, and it was 8:30 p.m. She goes, "Mom, I really like to eat late at night because then I go right to sleep." And I'm like, girl, that is a setup for disruption in your sleep and your metabolism. She goes, "But I fall right asleep." I said, "But I guarantee you're not sleeping as well as you could be. But what we know is that if you eat after 7, so we're going to, I'll give you a smoothie or something at this point, but, drink some water. You're just thirsty, not hungry." Because she had eaten at 6 p.m. But she rode hard. And
right.
So there was that conversation with the teenager. And I was saying that to myself because I was like, I'm kind of hungry too at this moment. I mean, I can always eat, but no, actually don't have hunger pains anymore like I used to. So
well, what if you had you had a little bit of leftover steak or a little bit of salmon? Would that be acceptable or no? Even
after 7, even that, yeah, I would.
Even protein.
Everything's going to go into storage. Yeah. Especially for women over 40, definitely over 50.
Yeah.
And so intermittent fast, like say if you finished your dinner by 7 p.m., you broke fast at 11 a.m. I like to eat around 6 and then at 10 a.m. So that's kind of been my rhythm for the most part. And that's a 16-hour. But if I'm doing a 13-hour, like today, I in the middle of moving and I got a great cup of coffee with oat milk. And, at 13 hours, I'm drinking that. So it's a little shorter fast today, but always at least 13 hours.
Got it. There are definitely mornings where I try to eat later in the morning, but sometimes I wake up and I'm so hungry. Like literally the minute I put my feet on the ground, my stomach is rumbling for food.
That is brilliant. I wonder how you slept that night. So are you sleeping well?
Yeah.
Solid? Good?
Yes. Yes.
Because sometimes cortisol will do that if it's, creeping up in the middle of the night or you're waking up in the middle of the night. That's a sign of cortisol increasing.
Right.
So
if I didn't eat enough for dinner the night before, possibly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and not enough healthy fats, because fats are going to keep our blood sugar stable.
I will say that last night I broke this rule. I ate around 8:30.
Yeah, so that's late. Yeah.
That's late. But you would think that, therefore, the later, the more satiated I would be and not so hungry in the morning. But clearly, that's not the case.
Yeah. I would say our time to restore and repair our bodies is when we're sleeping, and that is ideal. We don't want it to be digesting when we're sleeping.
True.
That as much as we can get, earlier in the evening, it's not always going to be the case. And I like flexibility. I'm all for the metabolic flexibility and changing things up and feasting and fasting and, confusion. I think if we do the same thing every day, we lose some of that resilience that we create in ourselves.
Sure.
So we have to cross train our patterns, our habits as well. So with keto green, I would start with a good, you could do a keto green smoothie. You can do one of my favorites is smoked salmon with capers and red onions on a bed of steamed spinach, drizzled with some olive oil or served with a slice of avocado or half of avocado. And
that sounds amazing.
So good. So that's a good example. And then, for example, a keto green lunch or dinner could be a steak with veggies. And, if you're adding some olive oil to that, or again, healthy fat, nuts or seeds, you can add that to that and see how you do with that. Hydrate between the meals, not with your meals, so you're not disturbing digestion. And that's an important part of the lifestyle. So that's, for example, kind of what getting keto green looks like. And then my first plan is, I call it Keto Green Extreme, and it's really an autoimmune protocol. It's following an autoimmune protocol. And that is without any nightshades in this 6-day plan, omitting all nightshades, the mushrooms and peppers and tomatoes. And it was really hard for me, and eggplants, because I love all those things. So that was a hard one to do. And then after that, the second plan is all plant-based with high quality protein and fats and very clean sources to help because oftentimes when we go keto, we get constipated. So we want to make sure we're supporting the gut bacteria and we're adding lots of those good alkalinizers in. You're going to feel really strong with that, and see how you do. How well is your body digesting that? Are there any skin flare-ups? Are there any, are you having more constipation instead of less? And all those symptoms tell us something about your body's ability, your enzymes, the digestive enzymes you have, the bacteria you have. How well are they supporting your digestion at this moment? And then the third plan, I kind of flip completely and go carnivorish. So nose to tail with some great recipes like my spare rib recipes, and, incorporated a delicious organ recipe, liver recipe. My cardamom seared liver is just amazing. I love using cardamom on my steaks and everything. And so I did it on my liver and it was amazing. My daughter, who's 14, she had second helping. She loves that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. And that tells you something. And then you're in high ketosis at that point. You're really burning fat. Let's see how you're doing, right? Okay. So we switch then, optimize that physiology again. And I always give the 7th day for feasting, fasting, rest, exploration, opportunity, whatever. So a 6-day plan, and the 7th day, you don't want to blow it completely, but listen to your body and then experiment, see how your body reacts on the 7th day or the 8th day. Do you have joint pain again? Do you have a headache or a migraine? Did that kick in?
Right.
And that would tell you something about what you did that 7th day. And I think that's a part of learning that's really important for women, because for some of us, we've learned to ignore what our body's telling us. And I want to empower women to regain and trust their intuition around their body too. And so the 4th plan is the cleanse. It's a cleanse, and it's amazing, and you'll be satisfied and full. There's great smoothie recipes, and we do a liver gallbladder cleanse in the morning. And then the 5th one is, sometimes I've worked with clients who have been, following keto green for a while and have found that they got stuck and they're like, what's going on? And sometimes I have to add carbs back. So the 5th plan is a healthy carb up plan. So you'll love my Texas rodeo skillet. It kind of made up some fun names too. My Texas rodeo skillet. It's with sweet potatoes, avocado, 2 sunny side up eggs on top, and some herbs and spices cooked in, and veggies, and drizzled with sriracha. And it's really beautiful. In my cookbook, they've got all these beautiful. My publisher it's a full color cookbook too. So you have all these beautiful color photography in the recipe. So that's a really pretty one.
Amazing.
Yeah. So all
I love that.
Good, all healthy, all balanced with herbs, spices, and minerals to help support our digestion. I mean, we think about the, physicians of the past preparing food for their royalty. Then you think about the herbs and spices, the cumins, the curries, the garlic, the onions. I mean, you would never pick out, why would you pick this out and put it in your food? You know what I mean? It's like, and now we love it because our body knows there's a medicinal benefit to it. I mean, garlic, for instance, antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, a very important addition to supporting your body's, natural inflammatory response.
Absolutely. So the carb up, I wanted to just mention that. So, we turn a certain age, 40 and up, perimenopause into menopause, and those potatoes for dinner that we used to eat, or the rice that we used to have for dinner, it seems as if we're really no longer really able to fully tolerate it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. As our reproductive hormones decline, we become more insulin resistant, and cortisol also increases. Both those hormones start to rapidly age us. Add in healthy amounts of stress. Maybe you have a teenager in the house going through puberty at the same time, or there's a pandemic going on, or there's a war overseas. God bless them, and you have all these things. And so you have to learn to really bring it inward. And, I always say, what do you know to be true? Focus on the present, really get in tune with your personal space and your surroundings and what you can do to create your best health and for those around you, as as you go through and compartmentalize the stressors we have to deal with. I'm going to think about this and do what I can to help from 8 to 9 p.m. tonight. I'm focusing on this, doing outreach, committing to organizations, etc. But I'm not going to be consumed with it all day. When these thoughts come into my head, I have to say, okay, well, at 8 p.m., I'm going to address this and put controls around these stressors that I can take action, say prayers, move my feet, move my, audience, whatever I need to do to address that. But I'm not going to deal with it all day because I can't. I know I've had post-traumatic stress and I've had PTSD flare up, and I slept for 5 years. I only slept 3 or 4 hours a night. I've been to the depths of hell, depressed, wanting to commit suicide. And I know what that feels like. And I know what can take me back down that rabbit hole. And I know how to create post-traumatic growth and resilience, and physiologically getting into this is why I'm so passionate about it. Getting into an alkaline physiologic state and in ketosis at the same time puts me at my peak performance so that I can now have a 3-generational household and do what I do and sleep a good night's sleep. I typically sleep 6 to 7 hours a night. And for years I slept 3 to 4 hours. And then I was an OB in a solo practice for a long time after that. So you can imagine, I never had a good sleeper. So it's been really part of these disciplines to create a physiology that's empowering, clarifying, and brings passion into my life at all levels. And I will tell you that now, because of this Keto Green Way and what I do, it's not only helped me physically to be at my peak, and also to relationally, to have all my daughters around me, to have great relationships with my team members, my family, my friends, to feel supported and to give support in a very strong and loving way. And it's a powerful place to be versus, when I had PTSD, quite different. I wanted to be alone.
Yeah.
I was depressed, stay in the dark hole, after working, and workaholism, to just keep your mind from thinking about what you're really dealing with. And my life is 180 degrees different from that now.
Yeah. Bravo. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Why don't you share how people can find you?
Thank you. So you can find me easily at my website, which is dranna.com, DRANNA.com. And you can find me on social media at The Girlfriend Doctor. And my book, Menupause, is available everywhere books are sold. So support your local bookseller, go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble. And definitely please leave me a review there. We also have a bunch of book bonuses. So we've got a bunch of book bonuses, and information on that is at my website too. And I think you'll have a link for that too, Margaret. So directly to the book bonus page.
Okay. I will get that and put that on the show notes. Wow, this was amazing. Anna, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on your beautiful book and with the success of it. I mean, you're sharing something that so many women struggle with, and just having these, 5 eating plans just makes it so much easier for women to just follow. And then they can start seeing the changes in their body. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I've loved doing it, and I love cooking, and I love food. I'm such a foodie. So, and we don't have to suffer, right? And if we have a physiologic balance, we won't be hungry. And I think that's, one of the things that's so important for me, having had, an eating disorder way back when too. It's that willpower is physiologic. So when your blood sugar is stable and you have essential fatty acids on board, you're not hungry. So willpower is easier.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much. And congratulations again. And I will definitely be leaving a review on Amazon for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
okay, do not walk. You need to run to get this book, especially if you are starting to, your periods are shifting, you've missed 1 or 2 months, things are changing, you're in perimenopause and you are now transitioning into menopause, or even if you're in full-fledged menopause, I urge you to get this book. All the links are in the show notes. Head on over to margaretromero.com/episode 214 for all the details. Because, girlfriend, we are not in our 20s anymore and we cannot eat the same way. So thank you so much for being here this week, wherever you are in the world. I hope you are safe, you are happy, and you are healthy. See you all next week. Bye for now. If you have been inspired and have learned so much from these interviews, I would love for you to head on over to iTunes, leave a review, and subscribe to the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.